How you doing, Gunther? Oh, you're so happy.
Gunther is happy.
Gunther, he's such a good boy.
Aww,
Welcome.
Hugs.
Welcome to another exciting episode of You Don't Know. You don't know, huh? So don't act like you do. Because then something bad, like coronavirus, might happen to you. Oh.
You never know.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Gunther, for that introduction. On our show, we've had before a remarkable guest. Any of you who are longtime listeners has seen on the show from time to time. Healer, empath, and experiencer Tara Allgood. Tara joins us in the studio this evening. Tara, thank you so much for joining us.
Of course. Thanks for having me, Gunther.
Gunther, let's take a break, okay?
That's
You go be the...
He wants to be on the camera.
Oh,
He's
gosh.
just loving the attention.
Gunther, we're trying to ruin the whole shot now, buddy. Okay, go
Okay,
ahead.
get down. Get down.
Okay.
Because you are going to distract me. There's too many thoughts flying through my head tonight to have extra distraction with all of this.
And extra thought forms?
Well, just a lot of thoughts and possibilities. And, you know, we're talking about the coronavirus because everyone's talking about the coronavirus, right?
Yes, and remember, we went into a grocery store yesterday, and a man with a gun led us into the grocery store, and then the same man with the same gun led us out of the store.
Yeah,
so,
and it was delayed. We had to stand and wait as if we were under surveillance. It was a feeling like walking into a courthouse. You don't know if your bag's about to get searched or what's going on.
Absolutely, that's what it was like.
It was just, and I think the first impression that we got is like, this is psychological grooming to just, it's just more of us accepting sort of an authoritarian presence with really no right to be there. We didn't ask them to. Who made this decision really? And it's kind of crazy when you think about how much power was on display the past few days. I mean, in many...
Absolutely. And all the signs, you know, the guys who were roofing the house over there, they said there's signs all the way from Waco to Austin saying, you know, don't cough on people and stuff.
Yeah, yes. In your car, cover your mouth when you cough and give people space. And like every 10 miles, big flashing signs.
Was it like that in every state?
No. It was only in Texas that I saw that, and I drove through 5 states. But, the grocery store thing, that's weird. But here's the thing that I can't wrap my head around. Influenza kills over 1,000 people a day. Every day. And that's one of the least lethal viruses and diseases that we have regularly around. Like just a couple off the top of the list, you know, like 2,002 people die of malaria every year, 3,000 from tuberculosis, you know. You take into account pneumonia, measles, poverty, right? We're looking at all sorts of issues that kill many more than just under 1,000 people a day. So, you know, like, what's the difference? Like,
That's
what
a good question.
What makes society go, well, this time nobody can go shopping. You might have to lose your jobs.
Well, it's a kinder, gentler flu or whatever, virus, you know what I mean? It doesn't kill everybody.
It's the funniest thing because the coronavirus is the kinder, gentler one.
I know.
It only kills elderly. It, kills 2/3 men.
Oh, we
so
don't need those
ladies.
people anyway. Men, who needs them? Elderly, who needs them? Yeah.
See, this is a divine thing, you know.
Oh my goodness.
The timer's on.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry.
So the regular influenza virus is going to kill a lot more people every year. Children, elderly, men and women. The strain mutates all the time. So how come when that's in full effect, you know, our whole life is interrupted and the economy and there's people with guns at the grocery store and, you know, Big Brother's telling you to cover your mouth in your own car. Why now? Why with this when
know.
It's not even as dangerous in having?
It's just all controlled. It seems really controlled, but you know what hit me is, okay, that was yesterday with the man with the gun, but today I went to the grocery stores and they didn't have all kinds of things. They didn't have any vegetables. There was plenty of fruits, but no vegetables. What the hell is that? You know what I mean? I thought that was where it's like everybody rushed to the store to get potatoes and onions. You know, I'm just now realizing that seems like it was controlled. And there was no potatoes in the whole place, but then you went over there to the exotic, you know, foods section of the fresh produce, and they had the bailanos or something like that, which looks like a potato. And it's like, well, it's a potato or whatever. It's a Costa Rican potato. They cost like $3.98 a pound or some bullshit. You know, you buy, you know, 3 potatoes for like $10.
Wow.
You know, when you should get like 20 pounds. You know.
Well, you know, and it just goes to show you, there's a lot of lessons to be learned from this experience, and one of the biggest ones, right off the bat, what we found out was a big fat reminder of how dependent we are on foreign goods. And so when China went under first and they weren't able to produce, we still haven't seen the full effects of that.
Oh my!
We're still waiting for the empty shelves in Walmart and Target.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then it starts, and it's spread to even more countries since then, and so all this is going to have like a snowball effect, and different industries will be affected at different times, and
I think it will be short-lived because I think that's the reason it's kinder, gentler. You know, they're just getting it. It's like, oh, we gave you a break this time. You know what I mean?
I think
you'll really be scared of the next one.
I think it's a dry run. I think it's almost like a dress rehearsal.
It is, and the people that are out there enforcing it, and I mean, it's hard to make judgments, you know what I mean? But
this is real, and it's not a conspiracy.
Absolutely real.
This decision to handle this outbreak the way they have is creating a ripple effect around the world.
There's no restaurants open right now. There's no bars at night. Nightclubs are not open. How many people are out of work? How is this going to affect the bottom line? How is this going to affect my sales?
People are trapped outside their home countries and can't get home.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And then all the layoffs today, I read a headline, I think it was New York City. The unemployment office was so swamped, they just closed it.
Yeah, and all the people that work in restaurants and nightclubs, bartenders, entertainers, all of that. And
that was not 12 minutes.
What's next? Tile? You know, people aren't going to need any tile all of a sudden because of the coronavirus. I mean, that's what I'm worried about. Shut up. Oh, did we did the alarm?
No, I don't know what's going on. It's like it beeps a few minutes into it. But
that's not a very good timer, is it?
Yeah, I don't understand what's going on. I think I might have accidentally set 2 timers. But that's what happened. We'll fix it next time.
Okay.
There's still 6 minutes. But the grooming and this is the kicker is I believe with the sort of calling it a rehearsal and stuff, it's like an experiment. They want to know the impact of these different decisions, how far it reaches, and how specifically humans react to being told that they don't have the ability to make their own decisions about
they have to take a vaccination or something.
Mm-hmm. Right. Go to your job or run your own business. And so I heard a rumor today, and maybe it's true, it was on a news broadcast show, but I can't remember which one, that Trump was discussing the potential of, giving a $2,000 handout to everyone who lost their income from this or who was impacted, which obviously, it's not going to save anyone forever, but that might help somebody for a month. But it's the same sick pattern that disturbs me at a fundamental level being familiarized with the PSYOP agendas, with the mind control
Handing out
aspect of the
prizes,
controllers.
yeah.
And this whole thing is behavior modification and grooming and teaching you to shut up and take it, and to think it's normal, and to believe that you don't have a voice and you don't have the right to make these very basic decisions. And see, when they see that they can get off a whole bunch of damage done and nobody really throws a fit about it, I don't want to be around for the second run.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what might happen.
They'll come and they'll offer handouts, just like Trump is like, well, here's some money. But how does the quote go? Give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach him how to fish, feed him for life, right? And it's the same mentality. We don't need the government to come give us money.
Well,
we need to be able to be substantiated and independently able to access our basic needs and the ability to become abundant by using our skills in the world, in the society, without being hampered.
Absolutely, we should be able to. And yeah.
And there's so much going on. It's easy to get caught up in the fear and all of the different concerns and the numbers and
the fact that they have to lie and like make this thing bigger up than what it is, or that it's out of control or something like that. It's once you realize that, but only people that are watching any of this, interviews or anything like this in this truther community, they've already more or less kind of evolved, and they know what time it is, to a general.
yeah, they know they
But your
at least know
average person
things
is
aren't
gonna
what they
just-
appear.
Your average person is just going to be terrified, especially when they go to the grocery store and all that stuff. But
If you listen to the media all day, if you're inundated all day with the news, with TV, with commercials, you're going to be terrified.
yeah, well, that's why I'm kind of late to find these things out, because I don't watch the regular news or anything like this. But just now that I'm thinking about it, that deal yesterday about those, and no, even today, no vegetables, all fruits. It's like, if there really was a rush on the grocery store that was, in other words, what if they just didn't order enough? And they're just emptying the shelves out at the grocery store. I mean, I'm certain that's what's going on.
It's my understanding that the basic standard is that, generally speaking, in America, the grocery stores have enough food on the shelves to feed their regular customers for almost 2 days.
3 days, yeah.
Yeah, 2 or 3 days. Yeah, that's it. Done. Out of food.
Well,
and if there's no travel, if there's no shipment of goods.
People couldn't get toilet paper
Yeah.
at H-E-B.
But this is where the new timelines and the new higher realities are busting through. We're seeing the effect in the places of the old reality that are falling apart and being exposed for what they are, hoaxes and nonsense that does not serve us and only hampers us and serves as some control, tyrannical, agenda. But we are shifting things. Consciousness is
It's hard
rising.
to say or not,
Yeah.
especially people, with the amount of people that are waking up and they're having a true, awakening or ascension or something, or at the beginnings of that.
Just beginning the process helps so much. It's about, being able to flow with things as the world changes, and be in the flow with natural order, with spirit, and not be caught up in your boxes, in your routines, and this 3D world, all these systems that we've bought into and feel dependent on. But when we actually analyze them and break them down, it's not that we're dependent on them. They're parasitic and dependent on us like fleas on a dog.
Yes, there is that aspect, but
This whole bigger picture, the coronavirus is just one plague on the earth right now. There's all sorts of really interesting and crazy locust plagues, and bats attacking whole cities, and fish showing up dead, and you name it, all sorts of problems. And some of this stuff is technologically probably the culprit or whatever. But my point is, as we see these things manifest that seem negative, that seem like they're ending the world or ending lives, and there will be ending of lives, and it is an ending of the world, the way the world was. So what I guess what I'm trying to help people understand is, it's like inevitably this planet, this reality is shifting. We're in the middle of a hyperdimensional shift. The way the world works now is not going to be available for people to depend on in the future. So things like this are beginning to happen because they have to start to try and get us in some sort of position where, obviously some factions are going to want to take advantage and control us, but the higher consciousness behind things, and the consciousness in the earth and heaven, and the higher good that is making sure this effort even happens and becomes available on the planet, and that we don't just get wiped out and restarted again because that Armageddon software type program that's embedded in this planet just plays and plays and plays, We're creating, what's happening is these new timelines, realities, and they're shared realities as well. But people who are on this path and aware of this stuff, they've experienced something called healing crisis. They've experienced something where they lose density, and you might have heard terms like raising your frequency or raising your vibration. And that's really what we're talking about, is dropping the density of old miasmic emotional baggage or mental thought forms or simple trauma records from your body, from your heart and mind, and from the template, and allowing your true soul and spirit to repattern and enlighten you. At the same time, your higher self, your guardian angel, basically comes into you more and indwells and embodies in you more as you dump out the stuff that was just dysfunctional, egoic, human pain. Okay, so that's on an individual basis how that works. So you're like, okay, I'm willing to do the work. I'll face myself. I'll get to know myself, and I'll dump the extra baggage, and I'll raise my vibration, and I'll stay in the flow, and I will be fluid with the changes. I'm going to go with the flow. I know I can't be holding on to things if I want to make it to the next timeline and the best potential future, And from a collective perspective, even though lots of people are in denial this is happening, it doesn't mean it's not going to affect them. Some of them are clearing and they're dropping density, and they just don't have language for it and don't realize they're doing it. And then other people have no idea any of this exists, thinks it's completely a psyop.
Tara, did you remember this article you wrote a couple years ago about phantasms and
Phantasmagoria.
Yeah. That
was mental schemata.
That's exactly, yes, that's the article I'm talking about. That was really, really eye-opening.
Yeah.
Sounds like that's almost what you're talking about, borderline right there.
Sure, yeah. We're carrying it around all the time. Our minds are creating and producing larvae and energetic thought forms, and there's life in them because there's consciousness in them that belongs to us. So when we clear those things, we reclaim the consciousness by acknowledging and seeing it for what it is and forgiving, and then applying love and reintegrating. You become whole. You become filled with higher aspects of yourself, more complete. But your physical body and the person you were before that process began you look different. You really feel lighter. The way you think about life changes. You stop holding on to the routines. You stop holding on to the expectations and the things you think are, the safe way, because you're learning reality is in flux, and the way manifestation works and the way these timelines get get mapped out and manifested, it's like it's happening like this. Being in the right place at the right time to just, you are that one little piece, one cog in the machine, and everything moved and you got affected a certain way. So we are in control of allowing ourselves to participate with the best, most beautiful, highest timeline realities available on the planet when we embody those energies, when we go out and we connect, when we understand that that's who we are and what we are. And because the shift itself is literally taking the density of the planet and enlightening it, shedding baggage, shedding skin. Even the magnetic pole is shifting. It's the Earth is also like the body to a degree, and then the body is like the cosmos to a degree, that this process is happening in all of these places kind of reflected. So collectively, when bad things happen during this time, when we're supposed to be on this journey of spiritualization, the bad things are it's going to happen to pull the numbers. It's going to happen to send consciousness that isn't able to go through the shift to a place where they can exist and continue on their journey without trauma, without fragmentation. Those things can happen to someone who is in too much miasma and remained on the planet for certain activations. So many times when people exit the planet in large numbers, it's not a sad thing. It was a positive thing. It was a bigger picture, and it was done together almost. And then that goes back to what you were talking about. Are there intelligence and guardians and maybe ancestral keepers and things like that, angels that oversee your life and
like the police of death or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is an idea.
There's all sorts of interesting things, and I think that it's pretty true to be able to just say, I think pretty much everything exists somewhere out there in consciousness. It all exists somewhere. But here's where your power comes in. You get to choose what consciousness you're going to exist in. And so the split, the bifurcation of the timelines, the new Earth separating from the old Earth.
Yes, and I think there's something to this Tartarian deal. There's going to be a whole other reality of people that believe in Tartarian. They're like, oh my gosh.
Who knows? I don't know, what all can happen. Nobody knows, but we could have people just show up, walk over from a whole other timeline and walk into another century for all I know. Because gateways are going to be opening, and the Earth, portions of the Earth that were like, for all intents and purposes, separated from God's presence or quarantined or broken or whatever, will begin to be restored and reactivated. And so, Garden of Eden-like, experiences can be shared between humans and human beings, And this is the heavenly dreams.
I like that idea, yeah.
Sky telling you to come on board. They're going to take you to a better world.
Oh, yeah.
Do not get on that ship. They're going to harvest your organs and eat you, more than likely, or you'll become a battery for their ship.
Are there nefarious rituals? Don't do
For
that.
all of the above. Yeah, it's not good. It's
not glamorous.
It's a lured sacrifice, and to become possibly a slave or a meal or whatever.
Yeah, it's just like a hamburger grinder for your soul. It's just, you get pumped down hard.
And, in the Bible, it speaks of angels and fallen angels, and those are the terms that a lot of people are comfortable with using to describe these things. And then people who get more into metaphysics and more open up their spiritual gifts and look at the details of things tend to lean more toward interdimensional and multidimensional beings.
Yeah, and extraterrestrial and all that stuff.
Yeah. But there's there's metaterrestrial, there's geomantic entities.
Yes.
Because there is consciousness that is alive, but not in everything, not in a polytheistic, everything is God way, or pantheism or whatever, not in that way, but eternal ideas and eternal forms do.
Yes, and the world of ideas or the world of archetypes standing behind
Yes.
reality when that is the real reality. So
The
if you
real
can
reality.
manipulate things in the archetypal world, they can come to manifest.
So we have this situation where the Earth is trying to basically birth a new higher being from herself, right? And so it's happening in localized areas, just like it happens in individuals and in groups. And so you'll have some areas in the Earth that will seem to be ascending, and some areas in the Earth that will seem to be descending, because they'll be falling into what is often called the Klipith by Kabbalists or
Turning into
Hermeticists.
chimpanzees or whatever.
The what?
Chimpanzees, I mean, just the idea that,
They
that
fall
they're a
into-
degenerated form of human.
Yeah, they fall into the lower realms, the hell realms, where the demons are able to control them with lust and all
yeah.
those things, and they just become bound. But if a whole city or a whole area falls into the Klipith, like that's where their frequency is resonating.
Oh,
They're not even on the tree of life no more. They're on the tree of death because they've fallen so low. That's when you get tons of laws, martial law manifest, all sorts of crazy tyranny.
So you mean the Klipith, like as in the tree of life, the
Kabbalah.
Qlippoth.
Mm.
Yeah, something like Klippoth. Okay, now I understand.
Yeah.
Now I
Yeah, because we're consciousness, human consciousness. We like you said, we are the divine on Earth, and we have this special privilege and capability to be God-like in many ways. And the Kabbalah, the tree of life, is a reference to the spheres of reality and the pathways between them that make up all of creation, and the holy spiritual things, but also who you are as an individual. And the spheres have their own qualities, right? So like in the sphere of Jupiter, this is, we're looking at it as a planet, but from a Kabbalistic point of view, they would say this is not even really like a physical planet. It's not even like a planet like you would think. It's an energy, quality, and it's benevolence and expansion, and it comes and it's added to this Malkuth, to the kingdom here, like lights, So anyway, all these spheres emanate, and then they emanate here to the kingdom, what we call Earth. But if your soul rejects goodness, love, all the good stuff that exists in those spheres, and instead embraces rage and
I think I know
hate,
people like that.
yeah, then they fall into the Klipith, literally the hell spheres, and they become demonically possessed. And usually what happens is it doesn't start out as full-blown possession. It starts out, it looks like mental illness, because the demons are starting to take out contracts and fragment pieces of them and barter them and sell it. And they're starting to go nuts because they're falling apart.
Wow.
And
Are
then
you serious?
and then
Like
it gets-
soul shards or something
Yeah.
like that? Oh my God.
Yeah, like soul brokers. And the person that it's happening to, and it's almost always, they get someone to open these very hefty occult doors who does not understand what they're really doing.
Yeah, you mean they usually
The
get it from an
consequences.
occultist to turn them crazy?
It's a very easy way to demonize a person.
It really is, and we've heard that a lot of the people that are high up in the occult are crazier than shit.
That's why they're high up.
And they call me crazy. I mean, fuck. Just kidding.
I'm crazy, but I'm a good kind of crazy overall.
Yeah, me too, right. We're
But-
down for
But
Sophia.
I have a conscience. I fought for my conscience, and those people lose their conscience. They lose their humanity.
They're losers, yeah.
They
lose.
become a human body skin suit, but inside is a monster.
Oh, yeah.
It's something different.
Oh, yeah, they're playing host to something.
That's it. They're just the harbinger of whatever that
And
is.
we probably even might, each of us as individuals might think of somebody or have heard somebody or maybe even know somebody like in your group of friends or your family that's like this. It's like full on.
Statistically speaking, probably every single one of us knows somebody who is demonically challenged to a point that it causes them major problems in their life.
Yeah, and so they're fighting, getting locked up in a psych ward and everything like that.
Or prison, or it's not that uncommon. It's the state of the world, and because of the change and because of the openings of the portals and stuff to the higher and connecting into the higher corridors, well, at the same time, the enemy is trying to reverse everything. Mm-hmm. So there's this big war to get bad consciousness into the portal and
it's just amazing.
Heaven.
It's so obvious what it is. They can't disguise it as anything else. They try to disguise hate as love and stuff like that. It's just
ultimately it's their survival, and they know it. And those of us who truly are alive, living in soul and ascending, they hate us because they know we are their death.
Now let me ask you this. So you're saying there's people that live amongst us that don't have souls?
Yes. This
is an idea I've heard before.
We're in a world now where not all the people living amongst us are organic humans.
I'm starting to realize that.
It's true.
But they may have still been around for hundreds of years, or is it like?
I think some of these clones have existed for thousands of years, and they belong to the original fallen angels, the rebellion, the sons in rebellion, the ones that left their first estate. Mm-hmm. If you buy into the Stitchin, very 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 poor translation of Sumerian texts, you'll call them Anunnaki.
Yes, and if there's anything to be said that's true about the idea of this Tartarian stuff, basically a time that it wasn't even that long ago, but where the so-called ancients had a higher technology. They had wireless electricity 200 years ago, and everybody knew it. The idea that a group, like, just getting back to this coronavirus still, that somebody could come in with a narrative that new, that radical, that strong, and sell everybody on it. Now it's actually maybe harder this time because they're having to do it with our minds, but maybe they are doing it with the coronavirus. Back then they did it with a mud flood. Mm-hmm. Possibly. These are these are what the evidence seems to
tornado drills at school when you're getting under your desk, and there's just end times programming was done that way in the 60s and 50s to people and stuff. See, humanity is so psychologically sensitive. We are very easily manipulated, and
it's so easy to see. It's just because out of people's fear,
and that knowledge and that understanding is kept out of the public, and the public is made to believe that that's crazy talk, and that mentalists and that certain psychologists and NLP programmers and hypnotists and magicians can't access their unconscious mind and do things to them. They can.
Right.
It's real.
They can do whatever the fuck they want. So why is it that we're not afraid? Oh my goodness, they're going to come to get us. Well, you and I might have our own different reasons, but I think in your case, you've already kind of seen the worst.
Been there, done that. They could always, I guess, it's something every single day I have to have peace with the fact that ultimately I'm not the one calling myself home. When I get called like everybody else. So there's no guarantee for you or me that, you have tomorrow.
Absolutely.
I will plan my life to live the best life I can and do the most work for good and bring the most heaven to earth as possible. But if for some reason I'm called to work on the other side, I can't begrudge that and be scared of death.
Absolutely.
And let that keep me in a state of fear and in a vibration, in a sphere.
In a state of death.
That literally exists in a lower reality that then when I die I can't ascend out of.
Right.
Because that's what they're doing to us.
Your life was death.
They want to trap us in those lower sphere, because they're basically higher level hells. They want to trap our souls there before we get to ascend, before we really understand. They do that with the fear mongering and that's why they want to do the poverty and the medicine and all of that to really fuck with us and scare us, because then they can get that vibration down. And with the ones that are nesting and they're looking for hosts, they want their hosts to have a vibration that is,
demonic.
Can fit them. Yeah. That's why you see so much demonic shit on TV now.
Yeah, they're trying to advertise it all.
Like it's normal. Like every single, well, not every single, but 1 out of 3 shows on Netflix is, oh my God, I just found out my family is some special magical bloodline and I have to control my powers.
Yeah, every time, exactly. Just like, not like Bewitched or that show that we used to watch.
Right.